If you want to add new excitement to your relationship with your long-term partner, age-appropriate approaches can help you achieve this. Doctors and relationship therapists have identified 3 special techniques that men over 60 can use to make their partners happy and revitalize their relationships. These approaches take physical changes into account while focusing on communication and emotional connection to make your relationship more satisfying. Research shows that approximately 65% of couples over 60 experience some changes in their intimate relationship, with many reporting decreased frequency and satisfaction over time. Yet studies also indicate that couples who adapt their approach and learn new skills often report relationship satisfaction equal to or even greater than in their younger years. What many men don't realize is that the aspects of intimacy and connection that create fulfillment often evolve with age, particularly for women. What's especially encouraging is that the techniques that create the deepest satisfaction for your partner at this stage of life are often accessible regardless of physical limitations or health challenges that might arise with aging. Let us know where you're watching from and how old you are in the comments below. The importance of adapting relationship approaches has gained increasing attention from medical professionals and relationship specialists who work with older adults. What's consistent across these experts' observations is that relationships that thrive in later years are those that evolve to emphasize qualities like emotional attunement, creative connection, and mindful presence. When researchers first began investigating intimate satisfaction in older couples, many were surprised to discover that some of the most satisfying relationships were among those who had been together for decades, challenging the common belief that passion inevitably fades with time. However, these successful couples consistently reported adapting their approach as they aged, shifting focus from performance-oriented intimacy to more comprehensive forms of connection. I'm Dr. Rachel, and for over 25 years, I've specialized in sexual medicine and relationship health with a focus on helping couples navigate the changes that come with aging. Today I'll share information about 3 special techniques that men over 60 can use to deeply connect with their partners. Approaches that, when implemented thoughtfully, might help reignite passion and enhance relationship satisfaction for both of you. Before we explore these techniques, I'd like to ask you to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell. Each week, we share evidence-based approaches to relationship health focused on practical, accessible strategies. If you're interested in ways to enhance connection and intimacy at any age, you won't want to miss our upcoming videos. These relationship techniques are worth examining because they address the core elements of satisfaction that become increasingly important with age, particularly emotional security, sensory pleasure, and meaningful connection. To understand why these approaches are so effective, let's first look at how intimate relationships typically evolve over time and with age. Long-term relationships naturally go through phases, and what creates satisfaction often shifts as both partners age. Physical changes, including hormonal shifts, altered sensitivities, and changes in response patterns, can necessitate new approaches to physical intimacy. Emotional dynamics also evolve, with many couples reporting that emotional connection becomes increasingly central to relationship satisfaction. Additionally, life transitions such as retirement, health changes, or shifting family dynamics create both challenges and opportunities for deepening connection. With these natural evolutions in mind, let's examine the 3 techniques that relationship specialists most frequently recommend for men over 60 who want to enhance satisfaction for their partners and themselves. The 3 special techniques for enhancing your relationship. The first technique that experts consistently recommend is what relationship specialists call sensate focus with mindful presence. This approach shifts attention away from goal-oriented intimacy toward an exploration of sensory pleasure and connection that engages both partners more fully in the present moment. Developed initially by sex therapists Masters and Johnson but adapted for older adults, this technique involves scheduled time for sensual touch without the expectation of intercourse or orgasm. Partners take turns giving and receiving touch with full attention, exploring different sensations, pressures, and patterns while maintaining open communication about preferences and responses. What makes this approach particularly valuable for couples over 60 is that it removes performance pressure while enhancing sensitivity and awareness. Many couples find that this practice leads to discovering new areas of pleasure and response that they hadn't previously explored, effectively expanding their intimate repertoire rather than feeling limited by age-related changes. The mindful presence component, bringing full attention to the experience without judgment or distraction, addresses one of the most common barriers to satisfaction reported by women: the sense that their partner is physically present but mentally elsewhere. When you offer your complete attention, your partner experiences being truly seen and valued, which creates emotional security that enhances physical responsiveness. Couples who practice this technique regularly often report several benefits: increased physical sensitivity, greater arousal from lighter stimulation, deeper emotional connection during intimate moments, and a sense of discovery that brings new energy to the relationship. Many find that by removing goal orientation, they paradoxically experience more frequent and satisfying intimate encounters. To implement this technique effectively, relationship specialists recommend starting with 20 to 30-minute sessions in a comfortable, distraction-free environment, ideally beginning with non-genital touch to build awareness and sensitivity before gradually expanding the exploration. Consistent practice, typically 1 to 2 times weekly, allows for developing greater sensory awareness and communication skills. The second technique highly recommended by relationship specialists is what experts call emotional attunement through narrative intimacy. This approach recognizes that for many women, especially after decades together, emotional connection becomes increasingly central to relationship satisfaction and creates the foundation for physical intimacy. Narrative intimacy involves creating structured opportunities for deeper emotional sharing through specific conversation practices. Unlike everyday conversations about schedules or practical matters, these exchanges focus on inner experiences, feelings, dreams, fears, and desires. The approach emphasizes not just speaking but the quality of listening, creating a space where both partners feel truly heard and understood. What makes this technique particularly effective for couples over 60 is that it harnesses the power of accumulated shared history while creating opportunities for continued discovery. Many couples fall into patterns where they assume they know everything about their partner, stopping the curiosity and discovery that fueled early relationship excitement. Narrative intimacy reintroduces that element of discovery, revealing new dimensions of a familiar partner. For women especially, feeling emotionally understood and valued creates a sense of safety and connection that directly influences physical responsiveness and desire. Research consistently shows that for many women, emotional intimacy is a primary pathway to physical desire, particularly in long-term relationships and as they age. To practice narrative intimacy effectively, relationship specialists recommend regular connection sessions, perhaps weekly, where you create uninterrupted time for meaningful conversation guided by thoughtful questions or prompts. These might include reflections on meaningful memories, current inner experiences, or hopes for the future. The key is asking open questions that invite sharing beyond surface-level responses, and then listening with full attention, and without judgment or attempts to fix what's shared. Robert, a 72-year-old who had been married for 46 years, implemented these first 2 techniques after attending a relationship workshop with his wife. "We had fallen into such predictable patterns, both in our conversations and in the bedroom," he explains. The workshop suggested these approaches, and though they felt a bit awkward at first, we committed to trying them consistently. After about 2 months of regular practice, Robert and his wife noticed significant changes. Our physical intimacy improved dramatically, but what surprised me most was how these approaches rekindled our emotional connection. My wife told me she feels more desired and appreciated now than she did 20 years ago, which amazed me. And I'm experiencing a depth of satisfaction I hadn't expected was still possible at our age. What Robert found particularly valuable was how these techniques created a sense of continued growth in their relationship. After decades together, it's easy to feel like your relationship is complete, like there's nothing new to discover. These approaches revealed how wrong that assumption was. We're still discovering new aspects of each other and our connection, which brings an excitement I thought belonged only to new relationships. The third technique that relationship specialists frequently recommend for men over 60 is what experts call adaptive creativity and playfulness. This approach directly addresses the changes that often come with aging by encouraging couples to expand their definition of intimacy and approach their relationship with flexibility, creativity, and a spirit of playful exploration. Adaptive creativity involves consciously developing new forms of physical and emotional connection that accommodate changes in health, mobility, or response patterns while still creating pleasure and satisfaction. Rather than focusing on what may no longer work the same way, this approach emphasizes discovering new possibilities that might not have been explored in younger years. What makes this technique particularly valuable for couples over 60 is that it transforms what might be perceived as limitations into opportunities for growth and discovery. Many couples report that when they embrace adaptive creativity, they develop a more expansive and ultimately more satisfying approach to intimacy than they had in their younger years, when they may have relied on more conventional or performance-oriented patterns. The playfulness component is equally important, as it helps couples approach changes with humor, lightness, and a spirit of adventure rather than frustration. Research shows that couples who can laugh together through challenges and approach intimate connection with playfulness report higher relationship satisfaction at all ages, but this becomes particularly valuable in navigating the changes that come with aging. To implement adaptive creativity effectively, relationship specialists recommend explicit conversations about adjusting expectations and exploring new approaches. This might include experimenting with different timing. Many older adults report morning intimacy works better than evening. Positions that accommodate physical comfort needs, integrating supportive devices or lubricants as needed, and expanding the repertoire of pleasurable activities beyond those that were central in younger years. Thomas, a 68-year-old who had experienced some health challenges that affected traditional intimacy, found that adaptive creativity transformed his relationship. After my health issues, I was afraid our intimate life was essentially over, he shares. My doctor suggested we work with a relationship therapist who specializes in older adults, and she introduced us to this concept of adaptive creativity. After implementing this approach, Thomas and his wife developed new patterns of connection that worked with his current health status. We discovered forms of pleasure and connection we'd never explored before. My wife actually told me that our intimate life is better now than it was before my health issues because we're more creative, more communicative, and more focused on mutual satisfaction rather than following a script. What Thomas appreciated most was how this approach preserved the dignity and satisfaction in their relationship. Instead of feeling diminished by what I could no longer do in exactly the same way, I felt empowered by all the new ways we were discovering to connect. The playfulness made what could have been difficult conversations much easier, and we've maintained a sense of adventure that keeps our relationship fresh. Let us know where you're watching from and how old you are in the comments below. While these three main techniques provide a solid foundation for enhancing relationship satisfaction, there are several additional considerations that might be relevant depending on your particular situation. These targeted modifications might be worth discussing with your partner. Additional relationship enhancement strategies. For couples dealing with specific health challenges, working with healthcare providers who specialize in relationship health for older adults can provide valuable guidance. Many men hesitate to discuss intimate challenges with their doctors, but specialized providers can offer specific adaptations and sometimes medical interventions that can significantly improve your intimate life while working within health constraints. For those experiencing relationship patterns that feel difficult to shift on your own, professional guidance can be valuable. Relationship therapists who specialize in older adults understand the unique dynamics of long-term relationships and can provide structured guidance for implementing these techniques in ways that address your specific relationship patterns. For couples who find themselves in transition periods, such as recent retirement, becoming empty nesters, or relocating, intentionally creating new shared activities and experiences can revitalize connection. These transitions, while sometimes challenging, offer opportunities to redefine your relationship and develop new patterns of connection that reflect your current life stage. James, a 74-year-old who had recently retired when he and his wife began implementing these approaches, found that the transition period actually enhanced their effectiveness. Retirement created a natural opportunity to establish new patterns, he explains. We intentionally built these practices into our new routine, setting aside specific times for connection that wouldn't have been possible during our working years. After several months, James and his wife experienced a relationship renaissance. Friends have commented on how connected and affectionate we seem. My wife tells me she feels more appreciated and understood than ever before in our relationship. And I'm experiencing a depth of satisfaction, both emotional and physical, that I hadn't expected at this stage of life. What James found most valuable was how these approaches enriched their retirement years. There can be a sense of loss with retirement, of purpose and identity, but these practices have helped us discover that our relationship itself can be a central source of meaning and fulfillment in this phase of life. We're more intentional about our connection now than we were in the busy years of careers and child raising. The evidence behind these approaches. The recommendations for these relationship techniques are supported by both relationship research and clinical experience with older couples. Understanding the evidence base can help motivate consistent implementation of these approaches. The effectiveness of sensate focus with mindful presence has been demonstrated in numerous clinical studies across age groups, with particular benefits noted for older couples. Research published in the Journal of Sex and Marital Therapy showed that couples practicing regular sensate focus reported improved communication, increased satisfaction, and better physical response regardless of age or relationship duration. For older adults specifically, studies have shown this technique helps adapt to changing response patterns while maintaining satisfying intimacy. The importance of emotional attunement through narrative intimacy is supported by attachment theory research and studies on long-term relationship satisfaction. Research published in the Journal of Social and Personal Relationships demonstrated that emotional responsiveness was the strongest predictor of relationship satisfaction in couples over 60. Another longitudinal study found that couples who maintained practices of deep listening and emotional sharing showed remarkable resilience through health challenges and life transitions. The value of adaptive creativity has been documented in qualitative studies exploring sexuality and aging. Research published in the Journal of Aging Studies found that couples who approached age-related changes with flexibility, communication, and willingness to explore new approaches reported higher relationship satisfaction than those who held rigid expectations based on younger patterns. Studies consistently show that a playful approach to challenges predicts better relationship outcomes across the lifespan. Now, I want to share what might be the most important factor for success with these techniques, something that relationship specialists consistently emphasize. The key factor appears to be consistency and intentionality. Unlike the spontaneous connection that might have characterized your relationship in earlier years, maintaining a vibrant connection in long-term relationships, particularly after 60, typically requires more conscious cultivation. Many successful couples describe establishing regular appointments for connection, not just for physical intimacy, but for emotional sharing and playful interaction. This intentionality doesn't diminish authenticity or spontaneity, but rather creates the conditions where genuine connection can continue to flourish. Just as a garden requires regular tending to remain vibrant, relationships at this stage benefit from regular, intentional cultivation of connection. Michael, a 79-year-old who implemented these approaches with his wife of 52 years, emphasized the importance of this intentional approach. In our younger years, connections seem to happen more automatically, carried along by hormones and the novelty of discovery, he shares. Now we recognize that maintaining our connection requires more deliberate attention, but the depth of intimacy we experience makes that effort more than worthwhile. What Michael found most valuable was the comprehensive enhancement these practices brought to their relationship. It's not just about physical satisfaction, though that has certainly improved. It's about the quality of our life together in all dimensions. The emotional closeness, the continued sense of discovery, the playfulness. All of these have enriched our daily experience of being together in ways that extend far beyond intimate moments. For those interested in implementing these approaches, I recommend starting with open conversation with your partner about your desire to enhance your connection. Share your motivations. Not that you're dissatisfied, but that you value your relationship enough to continue investing in its growth. Many men find that their partners deeply appreciate this initiative and are eager to explore new dimensions of connection. Begin with small, manageable steps rather than attempting to transform your relationship overnight. Perhaps start with weekly time for narrative intimacy, then gradually introduce sensate focus practices as comfort and interest allow. Approach these explorations with curiosity and patience, recognizing that developing new relationship patterns takes time. Remember that these approaches work best when tailored to your specific relationship. The general principles remain consistent, but the specific implementation should honor both partners' preferences, comfort levels, and relationship history. There's no single right way to practice these techniques. The goal is discovering what creates the greatest connection and satisfaction in your unique relationship. It's worth noting that while these approaches can dramatically enhance relationship satisfaction for many couples, some may benefit from professional guidance, particularly if there are long-standing patterns of disconnection, or if health issues create significant challenges. Relationship therapists and sexual medicine specialists who understand the unique needs of older adults can provide valuable support in implementing these approaches effectively. Let's summarize the 3 special techniques that can enhance satisfaction in your relationship. Sensate focus with mindful presence, which involves scheduled time for sensual exploration without performance pressure, bringing full attention to the experience and emphasizing sensation over goals. This technique enhances sensitivity, expands your repertoire of pleasure, and creates deeper connection through attentive presence. Emotional attunement through narrative intimacy, which creates structured opportunities for deeper emotional sharing and attentive listening. This approach reintroduces discovery in long-term relationships, creates emotional safety that enhances physical responsiveness, and addresses women's need for emotional connection as a pathway to desire. Adaptive creativity and playfulness, which involves developing new forms of connection that accommodate age-related changes, while emphasizing exploration, flexibility, and a light-hearted approach to intimacy. This technique transforms potential limitations into opportunities for discovery and maintains dignity and satisfaction through transitions. Additional considerations include seeking specialized healthcare guidance for specific medical challenges, considering professional relationship support when needed, and using life transitions as opportunities to establish new connection patterns. By understanding and implementing these evidence-based approaches to relationship enhancement, you may experience a renaissance in your connection with your partner, discovering that the later years of your relationship can be among the most satisfying and fulfilling. While these techniques require more intentional cultivation than the spontaneous connection of younger years, they often yield a depth of intimacy and satisfaction that surpasses earlier relationship phases. If you found this information valuable, please consider sharing this video with others who might benefit. Many couples experience changes in their relationship as they age, but are unaware of the approaches that might help them maintain or even enhance their connection through these transitions. Subscribe to our channel for more evidence-based approaches to relationship and sexual health, and tap the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Each week, we explore different aspects of well-being for older adults, always focused on practical, accessible strategies. Thank you for joining me today. I wish you and your partner deep connection and satisfaction in the years ahead. Until next time, take good care of yourself and your relationship.